So this is the agenda, right? Because they give you this.
It's the same, it's just a different hue. I don't know why I was printing like that.
Okay, so maybe one of them is missing on the keyboard because they gave it to me.
Okay. I'll just put it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're just giving our secretary a few more minutes to arrive. Take notes.
Do we have his number?
I don't.
Do we have a?
Denzel's number.
Did anybody look at those notes, the minutes from the meeting? We ended the first meeting in September at 7:48.
I didn't look at the time.
That's what it says.
I think it was 9:48. That was a long
That's
one.
not what it says. That's what it says.
Well, we'll pick it up with the,
He's an owner.
we'll pick it up with the, that's why we,
Let me check it.
he's excellent.
She's a good grammarian. She's a teacher.
Okay. So you got a sub for
Julia.
Julie will sub for Denzel. Okay. So we'll call to order. Start by welcoming everybody. First we'll go around and we'll do introductions for everybody. I will start. I'm Krishit, the vice chairman of the committee. I was told by our leader, Nicholas Elmanor, about 36 hours ago I was going to chair the meeting. So I've been thrust into this position. And I'm learning as I go. I've chaired many meetings, but never a community board meeting. So this is new for me. So please bear with me as I learn, as I'm building this plane as flying at the same time. You want to go around this way? We'll go this way. You want to introduction?
Brenda Pagan, community member. What would you like to know?
Just an intro.
Well, that's the intro.
Mhm.
Any other information anyone would like to share at this time? Okay.
My name is Naima Wood. I'm a committee member and I've been with this board for about 2 years now.
Mike Schnall, I'm the Director of Government and Community Affairs at Brooklyn Botanic Gardens. I live in Staten Island, so don't hold that against me. I have deep roots in Brooklyn, born here, went to law school here. My parents were both educators at PS 181 and 135. My dad's first job was at 241 across the street from where I work now. And yeah, so, and my whole other side of my family has roots from Midwood High School, Midwood College, so I'm an honorary Brooklynite from what I understand, so I'm happy to be here. So I'm fairly new to the garden. I've been here since July, so this is my first committee meeting with you guys.
Welcome.
David Romeo, community member, been on the board for some years now. Lived in Brooklyn for probably about 40 years. So that's it.
James, community member, first meeting, lived in Brooklyn since 2016, 2015.
James, what's your last name?
Nick Leo, oh, I'm not on the list.
You're not on this list?
No.
Okay, you'll help me out with your name.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Haley Barnberg. It's good to be back. Brooklynite for 30 some odd years, raised my kids here. Good place to raise the kids. And I am a steering committee member of Friends of Mount Prospect Park and very appreciative of being back here with the community board, park committee particularly.
Hi, my name is Gloria Briggs. I've been here 56 years. I've raised 3 generations here. I manage a huge garden in the State Garden Community Development. And I love Brooklyn and I love mostly people who do a nice. Not so much help.
Why would that be?
I love you, Julia.
Good night, everyone. My name is Abigail Tim, and I'm the third of 4 generations who were born and raised here in Brooklyn. I raised my children here. I live in Community Board 9. I'm a licensed real estate salesperson. I also sit at the board on Major Owens Health and Wellness Community Center Board as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This is what, the 6th month I've been on the board? Yeah, okay.
We're up to 2 months.
I was still on the board as of last term.
I'm Courtney Lissell. I'm also on the board of CD9, and this is my 3rd year. I'm glad to be in this committee because it's been at a very bad time for me the last 2 months, so you haven't seen me, but I'm pleased to be here and see everyone again. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Julia Bryant. I've been on this committee for 6 years. I am the liaison for the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, and I'm one of the people who help preserve the garden to keep the towers from going causing a shade. And the legal defense behind that.
Thank you, everybody. So warmest welcomes. We're going to, are the Prospect Park Alliance people here yet?
No.
Okay, because they have a PowerPoint set up for them when they arrive. So, Michael, do you want to get started?
So again, thank you for having me here. I did forget one part of my resume. I worked for Yvette Clarke for 2 years before she ran for Congress.
Oh, nice.
So I used to be in the Linden Avenue, the Linden Boulevard district office every Friday. I used to work over at City Hall with her. Just another, or I who buy that property 20, 50, 100 years from now, that is the law of the land. So
Until they change.
until they change it, right. So in 1991 it was changed, and then this was actually just for this one piece of property. So, you know, zoning texts always change, but for now, this is what we have. Okay, any other questions? Yeah.
So, I think congratulations on this outcome, I guess, given what you're up against.
Yeah.
And I just recognize that in addition to taking huge swaths of your time energy and the BBG's energy, that this was huge community outlay,
Yeah,
because many
of
people
course.
care about the green spaces, the garden and other green spaces, and we're showing up. And I know, I mean, very aware of it through Friends of Mount Prospect Park and people who have signed on with us, thousands of people. We're putting out the word frequently about the impacts on the garden. And I'm very pleased that people showed up, you know, many friends, neighbors, family members, all these folks. A little concerned to hear you say that you anticipate that soon it'll be back to square one, and especially when we're talking zoning and text amendments. Just aware of the massive amount of energy that you're describing and that many of us have experienced. And so to hear that when it's been several times brought to the verge and so many hearings and experts and whatever, to hear, oh, maybe square one soon,
Well, so I'll tell you why I
it's
say
very
that,
disturbing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So while this was all going on a few weeks ago, the property literally across the street from my office at 1000 Washington was sold to a developer.
Yeah.
So the rumor is that they're looking to build up on top of those buildings.
Well, I guess my question would be,
Yeah.
if we've made this much community effort to protect the green that we all need, can't they be something more comprehensive so that it's not starting from square one?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's sort of,
So I appreciate that question because that does allow me to say things that maybe I wouldn't have said otherwise. At the City Planning Commission, Commissioner Adrian Benty, who's the president, was the Commissioner of Parks when I was there. That's why he worked for him. And there was some questions fielded to him about laws that might protect spaces that are sensitive for sunlight needs. So while this was all going on, I started doing some research and did some outreach to other cities that have done this type of work. And so I'm preparing a presentation for the council member's office so that they can introduce legislation that would protect sunlight sensitive properties. So now I have some experience with this type of legislation, besides having worked for the council member, with Councilmember Yvette Clarke when she was in office. I was chief of staff for parks for 5 years in Staten Island. And one of the things that I did was I sat on a bi-weekly meeting with city planning and all the other city agencies. And interestingly enough, Parks was never invited, so I invited myself. And I would go every 2 weeks and I would watch as they would present these properties on their boards about all the things that they were happening. And every once in a while, I would see a property that was adjoining a park property. And I would raise my hand and I would tell them, I need you to take a pause. And I need 15, 30 days, whatever, to get my foresters out there to look at the property and determine what the impacts would be when construction starts, when construction ends, and all the mitigation in between. And so I have experience understanding how that works, and I know that there needs to be legislation that forces city planning and other agencies that have a hand in approving these types of projects to red flag those projects when they're adjacent to a park property or a sunlight sensitive property. So my intention, again, this is all up to the council member and you folks and everybody advocating for it, to get some sort of citywide approach to this, because it's not just the garden here that's impacted, there are other properties as
Right.
well.
And to have the one-off approach when it's a common concern is not
It's
a great
incredibly
use of
time
energy, and then we lose spaces that we need.
Correct, I agree.
The
Alright.
city of Yes addresses that in an adverse way, so that they now don't have to talk to the parks.
Yeah.
And so
I
we've already lost that.
will refrain
Right.
from commenting on City of Yes.
Okay.
I'll let you guys do that.
Okay, but I'm just saying that the
Yeah.
city of Yes, just so that you understand, that fight has already been lost. In the city of Yes, you don't have to, the city does not have to address parks about what they're building.
They never really had to.
They never had to, and
Yeah. Now it really.
now in writing, in
Right.
text, they don't.
So we're pursuing that. I mean, I think that's within the scope of what my experience and former Commissioner Benaby, and so we're hoping to get that ball rolling very soon. And I hope that people are receptive to it. I would believe that it would be hard for me to imagine other council members and community boards wouldn't embrace something like that.
She never answered us back for years. Crystal Hudson? About anything. I'm just saying, I've been here. Crystal Hudson, it's been a no-show.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but I will tell you that I've had really good conversations with her staff about this type of legislation, because I think that they agree with your sentiment that this is a lot of time and effort for everyone, and it can be dealt with in a more efficient manner, for sure.
Is there a lead on her staff who's?
Her chief of staff, Casey.
Casey.
Yeah. So they'll introduce they'll introduce what's called an LS request, legislative services request, that would be researched by the legal team on the land use committee, and then they'll come up with the relevant language and where it comes students of Brooklyn College and Medgar Evers, alumni of Pratt, Brooklyn Academy of Science. There's a million of different ways that people can enter for free. So if you want to go, you should go. You should definitely come visit. And if you want to come take a walk around the garden with me, I'm happy to meet you at the 1000 Washington Avenue gate. Take a walk, grab a cup of coffee. Can't promise you that we won't get lost, because I have gotten lost a few times already. I will also tell you that besides Lightscape, which is the big kahuna right now, there are tons of free and low-cost events that are going on the website. So we have like the Plant Pollinator Love Story, which just ended, which was the around the what is it called? The water garden. There was a perimeter of pollinator plants that was just buzzing all day, every day, which was beautiful, and it was just taken down, which is being replaced with Lightscape. But we're also having like community cider making events, and school visits are constantly happening now during the school year. We have fruit tree care classes. We have what's called Kokodama, which is being taught by folks who have a specialty in bonsai, which is these sort of like living plants made out of moss balls. So I'm an amateur bonsai artist. I have no idea what this was, so we're going to do this. Holiday centerpiece making, herbal tea making, and all sorts of other cool kids and family stuff. There is no real great way for me to print it out yet, which I'm trying to get them to work that out. Yeah, but if you go on the website, it's all there. It's very comprehensive, and there's tons of stuff. So, and we're always looking for new ideas. Before I take a question, you should also know that in my role, one of the things I'm responsible for is advocating and lobbying for funding. So one of the things that, because I'm new, I can say, I can propose some really crazy, stupid things at the garden and still not get yelled at about it. One of the things that I'm approaching the council members this for fiscal year 26.
He would like to have the garden help us obtain garden tools so that there are schools that are in the general area of the garden, walking distance of the garden, and he thinks, it is his contention, that if we could help the school get tools, then, things would start to, we would get the ball rolling.
For these, for like school gardens?
Yeah, just school gardens.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
we for a while thought that maybe we wanted to get bees, but we took that off the table. That was a no-go. But, his vision was bees and gardens and
Yeah.
children, but we're now up to, could we get some,
Tools.
could we just get some
Some
rings?
tools. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, we definitely would want to talk more about what the
Okay, then
concepts
it's
are.
Nicholas and it's
Okay.
his plan, but it's my recollection.
Sure, all
Okay,
right,
so
so let's make sure
I'll
we
put it
follow
on
up
our
with
apps.
Nicholas, so I can hear a little more about what he's thinking, and then maybe we can get some funding for that, figure out what schools he's thinking about, do some outreach.
Thank you.
One other thing that Nicholas mentioned in some of our other meetings is he's interested in setting up some type of event where the community board members could go to the botanical garden for like member day or member
yeah.
night. We did that last year with the Brooklyn Museum, where it was just like, a Saturday morning, and we all attended, and we went through the museum. So we'd like to set up some type of arrangement with all of our different establishments in the area so that we could go and attend as a group, and then that way we can be advocates for the botanical garden.
So you guys want to visit the garden, or do you want?
I want to visit the garden.
Right, and then.
As a group.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, absolutely, I love that idea.
Yeah.
I
maybe
can't
one-
believe you haven't done that before.
Yeah, we haven't done that
Okay.
before, but I like that idea.
Yeah, I
of
do
us
too.
Getting together and going and.
Absolutely, okay. And we'll wait till the weather gets a little nicer,
Yeah.
like March or April. So I haven't been there during the cherry blossom season, but I understand it's a madhouse, right?
Yes.
25,000 people a day.
It's my
so-
favorite.
The whole neighborhood gets.
Yeah, I know.
One other question that I have is, I'm a member of the Botanic Garden,
Thank you.
and I find out information about the events through email mostly. But some of the events that I'm interested in that I haven't seen advertised is the seminars that are offered in the spring, where the community could go and learn how to do gardening, and also get these like seeds and different giveaways. So I recently, over the summer, went to the greenest block. I forget which block that is.
Yeah.
That one.
Sterling?
No.
Yeah, I saw the poster up
Is it Sterling? Oh.
No, that's not it
there.
now.
No, that's a few years old.
It's behind, isn't it behind Western Beach, that block?
No,
No,
it's
it
not
used
that
to be.
one.
It used, yeah,
Lincoln,
not
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Lincoln between, this year was Lincoln between Nostrand and
New York.
New York, right.
That's where it is. And when I went, there was a lady doing some gardening outside, and she was saying that a lot of the seeds that they got on that block came from the Botanic Garden, and that they had gone to seminars earlier that spring and learned some tips and tricks. And I was like, well, how do you find out about these things? Because I'm a member and I never
So you're
knew
not
about
getting-
that.
you're not
I'm
seeing-
not getting those. Like I do get emails about events. Like I always go to Jazz in the garden, and I go to the Rose. There's like a Rose event in the June. So I go to all those things because I get those emails. But I never have seen
That's interesting.
anything about the spring seminars.
Okay.
Call Michael, now you have his
Well,
contact.
no, I mean, it's a really good thing for me to bring up to the communications team. Maybe they're not doing enough promotion.
Yeah, so the people on the greenest block, they go every year, so they're on the
Yeah,
list.
well, they might actually have, again, I don't know enough about that program, but it's possible that they're getting specific training. We're meeting with the borough president, in fact, about Greenwich Block on how to expand our engagement with communities that haven't traditionally been involved. So I will find out if those are specific to that program, and if not, if they're not promoting it enough, I'll get them to do that.
Yeah, that way other blocks
Yeah.
can have an opportunity to become the greenest.
Yeah, well, right, we want as much
Green blocks.
competition.
Real competition.
Yeah, because it's great that like Lincoln Road wins every other year, but they become like the Lakers or the Yankees. No one likes the Yankees. No, I mean you guys might like the Yankees. I'm a Mets fan personally. I don't like the big dog. I like the underdog. So I
Me
would think.
too.
I
Well,
think
now I see how they're doing it. They have an inside connection
they have a monopoly on
with
this.
the Botanic Garden.
And now you have a friend.
Yeah. So to that point, I noticed that pretty quickly when I looked at the winners list over the last many years, and Laura Imperiali, who's the borough president's chief of staff, and I have worked together for 20-something years now, and I said to her that we needed to figure out a way to make more competitors
Exactly.
in that competition, to
Other
open it
people
up
wanna learn too.
and have other categories and have more stewardship and training. So we're going to be meeting with the borough president's team in early December to figure that out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Michael.
Michael.
Sure.
Now that I have
And
your
you guys all have
contact
my card,
information.
yeah. You have my card. Send me an email.
These are the
You want
people.
one? Yeah.
Yes, and I'd like to know about scholarships.
I want to say
Scholarships.
Yeah, $55 for class
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
accessible for some.
Yeah, I agree.
Particularly seniors.
Shoot, send me an email. I will figure out for you what we're providing and then what we're looking to get funded for the next fiscal year. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you letting me go first. I'm gonna go pick up my daughter from gymnastics now. Nice meeting you guys. I'm sure I'll see you a lot more.
You'll
Yeah.
hear from us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you again.
Deb,
So
you're up.
next we have Prospect Park Alliance for a
Yeah.
presentation. Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
good
Welcome.
morning.
The presentation right on
Oh, you
the
do?
board.
Okay. Is there a way for us to,
I do.
should we move over there to be able to advance the slides?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Really get in there.
Nice to meet you.
Somebody want to come down here?
yeah, sure. I think, yeah, and I know you'll go down there and then I'll stay over here. Neighbor. Oh, you're doing that. Nice to meet another neighbor. It is really nice.
I didn't know Julianne. I have a cousin in Julianne, but she's
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly.
Why did you? Oh, I do have a lookalike. I've gotten arguments with friends telling me they saw me and I didn't say hi, but it wasn't me. So I do have a lookalike. It's happened more than once.
There's a book called Doppelganger though.
Yeah, that's the terminology, but I do, matter of fact, I think I even met her when I was in elementary school. Yeah, I do. Okay.
Yeah, we're ready.
We'll sign
Do you want us to sign in? I can sign in for my college too.
So I can get your last name. Yeah.
Okay, we're ready whenever you guys are.
Okay, I'm just signing in, so give me 1 moment.
No.
Okay. Okay, well, hi, everybody. Courtney, where's Courtney?
Courtney.
Oh, Courtney, so nice to meet you. I think you're the representative
Yes,
on our
I am.
community committee.
Yes.
So good to see you. So hi, everyone. I know some folks I've met before. I don't think I've met everyone, but I'm Deborah Kirshner.
I'm Naima Dahir. I'm the Community and Government Relations Coordinator.
Yes, and I'm the head of external relations at Prospect Park Alliance, and we make make our best attempt once a year to come and present to all of you on everything that's going on in the park. As I was just mentioning with Courtney, we have our own community committee, and every community board has representation there. So we work closely with Dante and Nicholas, and Courtney's invited to all our meetings. So anyway, I was going to give a brief update on that, and then we do have a project that right now has just begun the public review process. So since I am here, I thought I could also just give you an overview of the design of that project. So I don't know if everyone's familiar with Prospect Park Alliance. We're a nonprofit that operates the park in partnership with the city. We were founded in the 80s when the park was in a very severe state of decline, and over time we've grown in our role at the park, and we now have an operating agreement with the city. And we like to say, like, our role in the park is to kind of take care of the blue and the green, because the majority of our operating budget and resources go to the care of the park's 350 acres of natural areas. And the city's responsibility is trash management. We call it the gray, like the infrastructure, trash management, basic facilities, repair, keeping the park and facilities and amenities are in good condition. I don't have in this presentation because I made this just a few weeks ago, but as you know, we had a fire this past weekend. We're one of many parks, and parks throughout the tri-state region have been suffering through this drought and the high winds and the dry conditions. So as you may know, the fire luckily was kind of spotted immediately. FDNY was on the scene basically immediately, and they really contained it. So it was a 2-acre, 2-alarm fire. It happened around like 6:30 in the evening, and I think by like 11:30 in the evening it was pretty much extinguished. And FDNY has been a consistent presence in the park. We've had other little flare-ups here and there over the course of the past week, and as you may know, the mayor's just put a ban on grilling, so the Parks Department staff has bagged up all our grills, and we're doing our best to communicate to the public. You know, no grilling, no open fires, no smoking. If you see any flames, call 911 immediately. It's a really difficult drought. And before the fires happened, our team had been spending a lot of time watering all of our trees and plants just to keep them thriving. So that's an update on the fire. Does anyone have any questions about that, or I'll go into my,
Do you know how it was started?
The FDNY has not come to a conclusion yet on what may have caused the fire.
I did see an open fire that night, and it was on the park side area, and there were some people like sitting around it. It looked like a fire pit, but it was kind of out of control.
That was a different area, but anytime, if you see, we're really trying to be very, like, communicating to the public. If you see, open fires are never allowed in the park. If you see it, call 911 immediately. And we've had a lot of community members contacting us about that, and we've been communicating that message. So, Haley, did you have a question?
Hi,
Haley, good to see you.
I have been wondering actually about tree maintenance in the drought, and you obviously have like a very developed crew of folks doing this, but are there community guidelines, or is there maintenance that's happening that like other parks, you know, can know about?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I told you with the other questions you've asked me, like definitely lean on Partnership for Parks, for friends of groups. I mean, for us, we've been doing a lot of watering. The city's parks department is pretty understaffed, as you all know, so I don't really know what proactive measures they had. And in fact, on a little advocacy point to all of you, one of the areas of the Parks Department that got completely gutted in this fiscal year was the Natural Resources Group that's responsible for caring for all of the city's woodlands. And it was very under the radar. They did not know until after the budget came out, and there was a lot of very negative morale and very hard feelings. So we have been fighting along with all our other parks partners to restore cuts to parks. Parks is the only agency that did not see their cuts restored in the FY25 budget. And so there's something called the November Plan, which some of you may be aware of just by serving in this civic role. But it's a legal requirement where the city has to go back and make modifications to the budget from July. And we've been working closely with Speaker Adams and Councilmember Brannon to see if we can get those cuts restored. So it's a really upsetting moment. We actually have been talking to our parks partners about getting an op-ed or publicity out there saying like these fires are pointing to the need for the city to really care for these spaces and invest in them and, you know, reverse these cuts that happened. So yeah. In other news, since I'm looking at the budget slide, we did well in the FY25. You know, the FY25 budget, as you all know, was just released in July 1st. So we did get some nice funding from the mayor and our local council members. We have been lobbying over the course of the past few years for a project that we're calling Lakeshore. We're trying to renovate the perimeter of our 60-acre lake. The east side of the perimeter, which is in that very, very light green, was actually restored in 2010 as part of our Lakeside project when we created the LaFrac Center. So now we're trying to make our way around the rest of the perimeter. There's three main goals with that project. One is environmental resiliency. As many of you may know, when there's a severe storm, the lake floods, and a lot of that is because the lakeshore is so degraded at this point. So we want to rebuild it to make it resilient to severe storms and to reduce flooding. And in fact, we've been working closely with the Department of Environmental Protection around different things we can do to help. Another aspect of it is wildlife habitat. So the park is home to like over 250 species of birds and other wildlife, and a lot of aquatic wildlife depend on the lake. So we want to restore like wildlife habitats, the plants that they need in order to thrive. And then the third is like public enjoyment. Like it's so degraded, the pathways are in bad condition, there isn't lighting, there aren't like a lot of safe spaces to be able to go to the waterfront to enjoy the lake. So we're going to be adding like boardwalks and stone terraces and seating. Just like really beautiful ways for the public to, and seating, so people can actually, you know, make their way around the lakeshore and enjoy it. So to date, we've raised $8 million for it, and we're really making a push to get to the full sum, which is $20 million. So in this next fiscal cycle, really pushing the mayor and the city council speaker. We're actually also going to the state delegation to see if we can get state delegation funding to help us meet our goal. Other city funding, the three council members around the park, Crystal Hudson, Rita Joseph, Shahan Hanif, they like to call themselves the three mothers of the park. They've been very, very supportive of the park. So each year we see wonderful funding that comes through them. So this, especially Councilmember Joseph, I want to give a huge shout out. She gives us a lot of funding. So they gave us funding to help restore the restrooms in the children's corner area of the park where the zoo is and the carousel and Leopards Historic House. The restroom facility there is in a horrible state of repair and needs to be completely reconstructed. So Crystal Hudson's given us funding over a few cycles. Rita Joseph joined her and we're trying to meet that goal. And then some nice like just funding to help with accessibility of the park, improve pathways, improve lighting. So we were really happy to see all of that. And then for expense, the council members have been generous to give us grants towards our general operating. And then one item, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is some of the programming we're doing at our Leopards Historic House. Many of you, or some of you hopefully know that we've been kind of overhauling that house and our interpretation and education around it. So we got $50,000 from Speaker Adams this year towards our programming there. So, talked about the Parks Department budget and all of the kind of negative impacts they had in the past fiscal year, like beyond what I was just saying with the natural areas team. The Parks Enforcement team is at an all-time low in terms of the number of officers. We know for Prospect Park, there's only 2 officers on duty at any one time, and they're also on call for like all of central Brooklyn, so really isn't adequate enforcement. We have had some wins through our advocacy efforts. A lot of people have joined us in this Play Fair campaign, so we do want to give a shout out to everyone who's joined our efforts. A program called Second Shift that provides maintenance workers in the evening hours during the high peak season has been baseline with the mayor, so it was going like year by year, so that's good. And then the city council gave like 1 fiscal year funding to fund some of the urban park rangers and Operation Green Thumb and street tree stump removal. So one thing we say to everyone, we say every time we go, is for everyone to join the Play Fair camp. Other news, the Alliance has stepped up its support of activities that are normally handled by the Parks one is in the area of like litter removal. So we launched new volunteer programs called Green and Grow, where we have groups come out to the park to help with like litter removal. We also, there's a really fun picture there of someone standing on a huge pipe. We've been making our own infrastructure improvements through our own private funding to fix drainage issues. We've also been improving barbecue grills and seating in the park and pathways. So putting private dollars to work to help with basic maintenance of the park. We also have had a partnership for the past several years with ACE New York, which is a nonprofit that provides employment for the formerly homeless. So we provide an extra maintenance crew or 2 extra maintenance crews during like the peak season. Basically from April through October, Thursdays through Monday, we have private crews helping with litter pickup. And then on the bottom right hand corner, there's a little post picture of a wonderful youth employment program that's a signature program at the Alliance. It's called the Woodlands Youth Crew. So youth, high school age youth come to the park and they're employed from April through October to do woodland work in the park. They make a nice salary, they learn about career opportunities, they get to take field trips and work with our gardeners and learn about plants. And our goal is to hope that they might enter careers in like in environment or in parks. So so that is that. Capital improvements, some of the improvements we've made in the park in the past year. We're in the final stretch of renovations at Grand Army Plaza. We hope to reopen the arch very, very soon. There's just a few more hurdles we have to get through until that'll be approved for opening. We opened a new older adult fitness area in the park at 9th Street. That was through participatory budgeting in District 39. We also added a sunshade to the Harmony Playground there. And we did some path renovations along the Long Meadow through funding from Assembly Member Bobby Carroll. You can switch it, Naima. Yes, so Reimagine Lefferts. So that is the work. So the Historic House Museum was renovated a few years back, and when it was closed, we received funding to be able to start reinterpreting the house, and we've done like a lot of intensive community engagement to kind of shift the focus to the Africans who were enslaved at Lefferts, as well as the Lenape community that was displaced by Dutch colonizers. We had this year, we introduced our first artist in residence at Lefferts Historic House. It's a Brooklyn artist named Adama Delphine Fawundu. She's a textile artist and a photographer. So she created these beautiful tapestries that are hanging on the Flatbush facade of the house, and each tapestry represents one of the enslaved Africans that we've identified through the research we've been doing into the lives there. So that has been an overwhelming success. That exhibit's been up since June, and we've had like 12,000 visitors. So we're actually keeping the tapestries on the outside of the house up through the spring. And then you'll see on the right a picture of the interior of the house. So for most of its time as a historic house museum, the rooms that were open to the public and had furnishings in them were the formal rooms where the Dutch family, the Lefferts, would have lived. We're turning that on its head, so we've removed all of those, furnishings. Those rooms are now open spaces for exhibits like Delphine's, but also for community meetings. So like Flatbush Mixtape had a Friendsgiving there. Community groups are allowed to use those spaces however they need for meeting spaces, and we've had different programs. And what we are doing is the areas of the house that were staff of the Historic House Museum, where they worked or lived, were originally, we think, the spaces where enslaved Africans worked or lived, including the kitchen and some sleeping areas. So we received a grant to do an archaeological research, and we're going to be researching those rooms and coming up with an interpretation to reopen them to the public. So that's work that's going to be kicking off in the new year. Health and wellness. Our president, Morgan Monaco, came to the Alliance from the Red Hook Initiative, and before that she was in the de Blasio and Bloomberg administration, and really came to the park with a vision of bringing more health and wellness to the park. And the timing was really interesting because what we've heard from our partners in the social services arena is like coming out of the pandemic, people haven't really returned to traditional health facilities, to doctors' offices, medical facilities. A lot of people have fallen out of care. And looking at the park as a space to engage people where they're at around their health. So we launched a few programs this year. So on the upper left-hand corner, you can see a picture of a fully outfitted mobile medical unit that New York Presbyterian has been bringing to Grand Army Plaza on a weekly basis on Thursdays. It's focused on sexual health, so its primary focus is engaging the community around HIV and hepatitis C, but they are able to do like full examinations. It's all free and open to the public. On the right, you see one of the Department of Education summer meals trucks. We were home to a summer meals truck at the corner of Parkside and Ocean this summer from late June through late August. And it was sort of, unfortunately, it was a big success. So, we were told by DOE they served like 15,000 meals over the course of those 3 months. And in the bottom left-hand corner is a program we're really proud of that is a partnership with the Department of Health called Open Air Care Connections. So they had received a grant to bring community health workers out into the public arena to engage people about their mental health. And they came to the park for several months in the spring. And it was really about engaging everyday Brooklynites. So they would come up to anyone and say, hello, how are you? How are you feeling? Do you want to speak today? People were engaging them for like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and they would be able to connect people to resources. So they might speak to someone and they would be like, I'm a little bit stressed out. My landlord is thinking about raising my rent, and they would talk to them about it and refer them to housing services, or I'm looking for a job. I'm very anxious about that, like, job recruitment, job skills and interview skills resources. So it was really successful, and we're looking for more funding now to be able to extend that program. And then we opened a cafe at the boathouse, so that was very exciting. We have sandwiches and drinks and coffee. We have cafe tables that have been in the terrace. It was very, very successful. So our operator wants to continue it into the winter months. So I think starting next week, we're gonna continue the cafe with some indoor seating. It's been very successful. So we were excited to bring that to the park. And then for all of you to know, we are supposed to be bringing a mobile food cart to the Willing entrance where the Leopard's house is. So on Flatbush, just north of Ocean and Empire, it's called Poetica Coffee. It's a very popular local business that primarily is in neighborhood south of the park, but they're going to have coffee and pastries and another opportunity to bring food to the park.
What days will they be here?
That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be daily. We'll be announcing it soon, so we'll share it with the team here so all of you can know about that. I think that's everything. Yes, so any questions for us?
Yeah. How are
Yes.
you letting the public know about all these wonderful activities and events in the park?
Yeah, well, we do different, it's actually very interesting, is my team has been doing a lot of work this year to expand our networks on how we spread the word about things. So we're hoping to implement new things in the new year. But right now, my colleague Naima in particular, she always shares flyers and notices with the community boards and elected officials. We have a pretty robust email mailing list. We have about 150,000 people on our mailing list, and we also operate the park's official social media channels and websites. So we promote things through our own channels, through the electeds. We also communicate to different community partners and nonprofit organizations. We're always looking for tips or ideas of other ways to get the word out. So any suggestions or advice you have on how to spread the word, would always be greatly appreciated. So, yeah. Yes, Julia.
So, I have a question about the children's pond and
At the Vale?
at the Vale.
Yeah.
So, do you have any info
Yeah.
on what's going on there?
Updates, yes. So I'm sorry, I didn't mention, I showed you projects that opened this past year, but we have a significant number of projects that are in design or procurement. So to update you on other projects, Julia's referencing, we received significant funding from Mayor de Blasio in his last few months to restore the Vale, which is what we call the area of the park that is from Grand Army Plaza to the zoo along Flatbush. And so there's about 4 different landscapes within there. There's an area we're calling the Upper Vale, which changed many, many times throughout its history. So it was a bit of a blank slate. We were able to do a lot of intensive community outreach to see what the community would like to see there. And what we heard is that people love, the area is very, very heavily forested, a lot of trees, very nature, woodlands. People wanted to keep that sort of woodland feel to it. They wanted to add amenities though, so we're adding some restrooms, we're adding accessible pathways, more lighting. And they wanted like opportunities for intergenerational gatherings. So we're gonna have a beautiful pollinator garden with lots of beautiful colored flowers and a sheltered arbor so people can sit and enjoy the garden. We're gonna have a natural play area. So some of you may know we have like a temporary natural play area just along the East Drive in that vicinity that has been very, very popular. And so we're going to create a natural play area in this space that kind of emulates that. And then we're going to have like a picnic lawn with a pavilion that has restrooms. And then next to it, we're finding the Lower Vale is a historic landscape where we're doing a much more kind of straightforward historic restoration. So it's a beautiful water feature called the Children's Pool that has beautiful plantings and has like granite balustrades. It's very beautiful, and that's going to be pretty much restored back to what it was historically, although we are adding elements. It's a very popular spot for birds, so we're going to be adding some elements that will make it even more bird friendly, like mud flats and like little areas to drink water. So that project is in procurement, where they're putting together the construction team, and it should go into construction in the summer of 2025 and then reopen to the public hopefully by the end of 2026.
I have a really specific question.
Sure.
And I know you're not
Of
going to
course.
know, but maybe you can get it for me. We would like to sail boats in the children's park.
Oh.
I know, it's adorable. But we need to know how deep the pond is, because I belong to Central Park Conservatory,
Oh,
and we
right.
also sail boats there.
Right.
Those people who are sailing boats also live in Brooklyn.
Oh, that's so funny.
So they would love to sail their boats here,
Oh,
but they
that's so
need to know how
sweet.
deep. This is my question for you, and no one can get it from you except for you, Deborah. How deep is the pool going to
We
be?
can look to. I mean, I will be honest with you
It's
though.
not
It's
in the
not
drawing.
it's not
It's
a
not in the
very
drawing.
big water feature.
But it's
and-
not in the drawings. I mean, we've
Yeah.
looked.
Yeah, we can find out the depth. I don't know if it's going to be an ideal water feature for the boats, just because it's not very big.
The
But
boats aren't very big.
that's true.
We've already
Okay.
measured. We've already measured our boats. We've done our
Well,
part.
Naomi's taking notes, so
Okay,
we
we've
do
done
know
ev-
the depth.
we-
I don't know the depth, but the
Okay,
Alliance
we've done
knows the
everything
depth,
except for the
so-
depth. We've done
Okay.
everything except for the depth. We're
We
not
will
gonna
get
have.
that
They
for
won't
you.
be as big as Central Park.
Got it.
And because we have the plan for the boat, we can make them as big as we want,
That's great.
but we don't know how deep.
Got it. Okay. Well, we took that down. Our design team will have that answer for you, so we will get back and let you know.
Nicholas has a question for you.
Sure.
Nicholas is online.
Oh, hi, Nicholas.
Hi,
He
Nicholas.
asked about the Shirley Chisholm Monument.
Yes, I know. There's so many capital projects that I did not tell them all. So we are also renovating the entire perimeter of the park along Ocean Avenue and the Parkside Ocean entrance, and it will be home to a monument to Shirley Chisholm, which we're incredibly excited about. So that project is in procurement. It's been a little bit of a lengthy procurement process, but it's a lot going on in that project. We're doing like not just the park perimeter, but like a bike lane and lighting for DOT. So we're at the tail end of the procurement phase. It's our understanding the project should hopefully go into construction in spring of 2025. So the monument should be installed in 2026. And the other thing we kicked off this year is we received funding from the city council to create a Shirley Chisholm Welcome Center. There's like a very small historic building right at that entrance. So we're going to transform it to add restrooms and to have exhibit panels that talk about the life of Shirley Chisholm. And hopefully we'll have some outdoor spaces where people can have public programming. So we did a big community engagement session around that at Medgar Evers College in January. Our designers are like really deep into the design process now, and we should be going back to the community in the months ahead with the preliminary designs for that area.
Okay. Thank you. I also have a question.
Yeah.
I have a senior son at Medgar Evers and one downtown Brooklyn at PS 133, but are you in schools? Are you getting schools involved in the cleanup? I remember as a Girl Scout, we used to go to Prospect Park and pick up the leaves.
The Girl
and clean
Scouts
up.
still come.
They
They've
still
had,
come.
it's been 100 years of the Girl Scouts. Actually, like a year or two ago, we created this beautiful special little badge, like a Girl Scout badge to commemorate like the centennial of the Girl Scouts. That's a really good point. We do engage with some schools, but it's like very much the schools kind of have to find us. But we just had a really interesting, like a listening session with youth organizations and schools, and there was a lot of conversation about how like a lot of schools have like community service hours that their students need to have. So we're going to talk about maybe the possibility of having days when the park is available for schools to
Should the
come.
school contact you?
Yeah,
How
definitely.
do they contact you? What's the best number and email?
I think maybe our community at prospectpark.org would be good as a start. We check that. That's a good one just for the community now in general. If people have queries or want to engage with us, just community at prospectpark.org. Naeem and I both check it, so.
Number? Do you have a number?
I would say the phone is more iffy just because we work on a hybrid schedule and we're not always at our desk. So email is a better form of communication. If people leave their numbers, we can call them back. If phone is a better form of communication for them.
My second question is, there's a lot of natural sunlight. Have we considered solar powered lighting? I'm there every morning and it's really dark now in Prospect
Yeah.
Park, but there are a few lights that are out when I'm out there.
Yes, just so you know, we're having significant issues with lighting in the park. We've been talking for like the past year almost every other week to the DOT. So just for you to know, the DOT is responsible for all the lighting in the park. Why, I don't know, but somehow it's a DOT responsibility. They've been having some types of infrastructure project problems. So they've been slowly like unpacking the issues. But if there's any lights out, please report them to Naeem and I. We're like constantly checking with them and we're hearing reports of different lighting outages. So send us a note, and we're, like I said, we're talking like on a regular basis with the community relations folks at the DOT to figure out what's going on. But as far as solar powered lights, that's a good thing to bring up to the DOT, I guess. We can raise it too. I don't really know if it's something they've considered or not, but it's a really, not even just in the park, it's like
it's energy though. I'm thinking the energy bill, the electricity
Yeah.
bill, the natural sunlight, it
Yeah.
would just pull during the day, and when we need the light, it would.
I completely agree.
I think
It's
that's
a really
the
good thing.
direction we're going in on a whole, not
Yeah.
even the community, but the country.
I was gonna say that, I mean, that's a good question for the city in general, right? Because like anything they do in the park, they do city, you know, they'll do it throughout the city,
Is
but.
that the group that's meeting over there? Is that the DOT?
No,
group? Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
I think that's safety.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
safety.
safety.
Yeah.
So yeah, see, other thing, I mean, if there's time, we just happened to be meeting with you right when we just started the community review of a playground project on Prospect Park West. So if you have a few minutes, I'm happy to take you through the design of that. We are going to be presenting this to the Brooklyn Borough Board on December 3rd, and that meeting is open to the public. So our designers will be on hand for that presentation. But I can kind of take you through. So just so you know, we received funding last year from District 39 and from the Brooklyn Borough President to renovate 2 playgrounds in the park. So one is the Lincoln Road Playground at Lincoln Road and Ocean Avenue. That one is a little bit of a bigger playground, a little bit more complicated. So we're not quite there yet with the design of that one. Third Street's a bit smaller, a little bit more straightforward. So that one has jumped ahead a little bit. And so we just, like I said, we're going to be meeting in December with the Brooklyn Borough Board, and then we'll go to the PDC and the landmarks. So I'll just give you a little overview of it, just like I'm going to read from some notes from my colleagues. So excuse me for not looking at you. So this is just like the goals that our designers had in creating the project. They really wanted to create a custom experience so people don't feel like they're in a generic playground. They wanted to really focus on imaginative play, like helping kids improve their skills through planning and agility activities. Make the playground accessible so people of all abilities will be able to enjoy the playground, and add more shade. This came through, we did community outreach last fall for this project, so a lot of this was feedback we received from families that use the playground. Just like, I'll take you through this really quickly. This is where the playground's located. It's basically off of Prospect Park West of 3rd Street. I think we can keep going. Some of these are like more complicated than we need to be. Okay, let's keep going. This is just a little history of the site. So it first became a playground in 1941.
in the 70s, it was renovated by a really famous architect named Richard Datner, who was known for these adventure playgrounds that were really like important to architects and historians. And then in the 90s, it was renovated again. That's the last time it was renovated. This is what it looks like today. You can see it's kind of worn out. This is this is when we did the community engagement. It was really cute. We had like little stickers and kids could say what they liked or didn't like about playgrounds, and we actually like took all that information and analyzed it. This is what people wanted. Everybody wanted a play feature. Everybody wanted climbing structures. Very contentious. So I'll just let you know, I'm going to say it right now. A lot of people wanted, there is a sandbox there now. Lots of people wanted sand, lots of people don't. We learned after we did this that there's an ordinance right now. The Parks Department is no longer having sandboxes and playgrounds just because it's like very difficult to maintain and there's health issues with it. So unfortunately, we're not going to have a sandbox. A lot of people wanted more shade. So just this is sort of a plan view. Well, I guess I could take you through this. So this is lines. That's going to be like different play structures on it where kids can climb. There'll be like little nettings and like little wooden stepping stones and all sorts of fun things for kids to scramble on. It's going to be covered with some type of synthetic material. Like we said synthetic turf, but it's not going to actually be like a toxic turf. We like are using some kind of non-toxic artificial surface. When you go next to it, there's a box with a little graph pattern on it. Those are baby swings. In the middle, it's going to be cute little like house-looking structures and stepping stones for kids for imaginative play. Just below that, where the blue is, will be the water feature. So it's going to be like manually operated sort of streams that float up, so they're not always on. And then at the other end of the playground is for the older kids, and that's where there's going to be a much bigger play structure. And I think what you see there are like a lot of the trees and shade. So there'll be like 3 new trees right in the middle where like the baby swings are, and then other trees sort of around the perimeter of the playground.
Who's the architect or you are?
No, not me, but
Oh.
the organization, the Alliance. So one thing that's really special with the Alliance is we have an in-house office of architects and designers. So the way it works is we lobby the city for funding. The funding goes directly into the Parks Department. The Parks Department hires us to do design and construction supervision. So they hire us as their client. So here's a rendering of that area in the middle of the playground that's going to have the cute little like imaginative play. And this is showing the water features, which again will be like manually operated, so they won't always be on. That's just another picture of the water feature. This is that kind of mound structure that's going to have a synthetic material. And I was told that those round kind of like stone looking things, they're like, I don't know if they're made of wood, but they're going to be like drums, like kids can pat them and they'll make like a percussion sound. Keep going, Naima. Let's see what the next one looks like. This just shows a rendering of it. So you can kind of see there's some webbing for people to climb. And one thing to say is we're making the playground fully accessible. So for example, an area like this, they're going to have like transfer stations where children who are in any type of like wheelchair or other device can transfer themselves off their device and onto the play structure. And then there's going to be lots of different like tactile sensibility things for people.
Sensory
Yes,
play,
it's for sensory play. This is the structure for the older, the big kids. So we're trying to make it feel a little bit more special and custom. So you can see there's like some tree-like features and some special safety surface with lots of like fall colors. So really making an effort to make it feel special and unique and not just like cookie cutter play equipment. And that one too will have accessibility features. So it's hard to see it here, but there'll again be transfer stations and ways for kids to navigate different elements of the structure, no matter their ability level. I think these are just more views of the play equipment. There will be tire swings again. Those are really popular, so bringing those back. And then I think on the right, they're just showing like fun, different, like things where people can, you know, for tactile play, kids can move little, you know, pieces, and it'll be nice. It's more about some of the different like materials. We'll have a new drinking fountain, which will be nice. Water bottle filler.
For the different surfaces, how does permeability work?
It will be permeable. It's a really good question. I know for like the rubber surfaces, like there's a permeability aspect to it. It's like considered like a permeable surface. One thing I could point out there on the far left, you see the wood decking. There's going to be wood decking around the trees to protect their root system, so kids can like get up close but not compact the soil. And as part of this, anytime we do a capital project in the park, we address the subsurface drainage. So the park's drainage system is over 150 years old and it's not in a good state of repair. So we try to tackle it sort of project by project. So one of the issues with this playground, which we're not going to be able to fully solve, is it's in sort of a natural like kettle. So some of you may know when we've had like severe hurricanes or severe storms, it gets super flooded. So it still could be, what's the word I'm looking for? Susceptible to flooding. But I think it's being designed in a way where if there is flooding and the flooding goes away, like it's not going to like destroy the playground. So there are some challenges with the area, but we are improving the drainage, so hopefully that will help. These are some of the trees we're planting and the shrubs. Everything we plant in the park are native species. Like our focus is on like creating natural habitat. And we also think about climate change. So we've been talking a lot about like what trees will be able to thrive in like 10 or 20 years. This is just a timeline, which I think I already mentioned to you. So hopefully it'll go into procurement in the spring and then construction the following spring. So yeah, it looks like it's gonna open in 2027.
What about the spotted lanterns? I've seen them in the park.
Yeah, luckily for us, spotted lanternflies are more of a pestilence for agricultural crops, what people eat, not for like a forest, which is what's in the park. And in fact, they love to feed on one of the trees that are not good for the park. So if anything, they're destroying trees that we don't want in the park. So it hasn't been an issue for the city. It's really been much more of an issue for regions that have like farms and crop growing regions.
I saw them.
Yeah, there's
That's why I'm
tons.
asking.
I see them too. They're still out there.
Yeah.
Yes. The biggest challenge we've been facing is just the drought, as I mentioned to you, and trying to keep the trees alive with like the lack of water. So hopefully it'll rain sometime soon. We're actually we are seeing if we're still able to safely have our annual New Year's Eve fireworks in the park, and that's something we're talking with the city about right now, if it's going to be able to happen or not.
What about water storage? When it rains, is there a storage container that we can store water for droughts, future droughts?
It's a really good question. In the park, the water really goes into our water course, and that's what kind of keeps it in the park. For the city, though, I think for everyone, it's a really good question, especially if this becomes the new normal. Like, how can every New Yorker...
buildings, the huge towers, the water. So why not just get a few in the park for a drought?
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so smart. Well, we'll definitely discuss that with our colleagues.
Write that down, please.
I did. Yeah, that could be good for like participatory budgeting. I always say to everyone, some of these projects when people have ideas, like work with your, I don't think Crystal Hudson does participatory budgeting, does she?
Yeah.
Oh, she does? Oh, good. Okay, we never had any projects, but suggest some, you know, yeah. It's always a good way to get the back.
She's inviting people to participate.
Oh, good.
She sends out emails.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, it's great to see you all.
Thank you, Deborah, for coming.
Our community meetings again, Courtney is on the committee, but you're all welcome. So, you know, Courtney gets the invitations to the meetings, as does Nicholas and does Dante. But if anyone ever wants to come to one of the meetings, you're more than welcome to.
When are your meetings?
They're on a quarterly basis. We're actually, Naeem and I are going to regroup the next couple weeks to set the calendar for the first half of 2025. So when that's set, we'll be sending it to Dante and Nicholas and to Courtney, and we can ask them to share it with all of you. So. Okay, well, thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye, Nicholas.
Okay, we're going to move into our public commentary. We're going to allot 15 minutes for this. This is Mount Prospect Park.
Great to be here and to rejoin you all. I'm Haley Barnberg. I'm on the steering committee of Friends of Mount Prospect Park. It's a group that formed as a Friends of for that particular park early in the year after the mayor made the surprise announcement of a plan to put a regional scale, mostly paved skateboard facility on the historic green space, which took everybody by shock. The 40,000 square foot footprint is double what the skate professionals consider to be 20,000 in the environment. It's a very well-loved park, and the idea of paving over any of the green space in 2024 with the climate crisis and also the way people use the park and the green space and find it particularly accessible to them was something that we wanted to deconflict, because there's no reason. I mean, skateboarding can be a very green thing. It just has to happen on paved surfaces. We want to preserve the green space, and Brooklyn is super paved, very over paved. And as community members gathered, and at this point thousands of people have signed on to the effort and onto the petition, which remains on our website, we discovered more and more of the spaces around the park, many of them within minutes of Mount Prospect Park, that are already designated as skate sites, but they're in states of disrepair. And even if maybe they're not entirely broken and cracked up, they have very, very lacking features that the skateboarders have complained about for years. So it seemed to us that there was definitely the win-win at hand, but it's an uphill battle because this was announced at the state of the city as like, this is happening. But the more we dig into it and talk to our neighbors, and the petitioning of thousands has been mostly, it's like neighbor to neighbor in the park or near the park, the more we find out how people particularly rely on it. It was designed between the library and the Botanic Garden as a quiet recreation park, and it's almost entirely intact and preserved from the WPA era. And so what happened is we found out more and more about how it works and how it was designed and how it still serves that welcoming function for like our very youngest community members, little kids, and old elders, and just anybody who wants to use flexible green space without having to buy extra stuff to use it. We found that there were historians amongst the neighbors and archivists who were very surprised that it had never been put to the state for its historic value. So two very significant things happened. One is that that application was made, and this the State Historic Preservation Office evaluated the park and found it eligible for the National Register of Historic Spaces, Continental Lookout, and various other things, the former Brooklyn Reservoir. And at this point, it has historic trees because it's got these mature, decades-old oak trees, which are also part of the city priorities of keeping our shade, maintaining the mature trees that we have, keeping our permeable surfaces, so that when the storms happen, there's good absorption. We don't want more paved spaces, but more green spaces. And between the trees and the fact that paving makes heat islands, and the fact that we have a lot of paving, again, it really sort of seemed to us that even as a bunch of lay people and people who love Brooklyn and the place we live in, that there is a solution that could be had. So it was very gratifying to come to this committee and then the full board with information and have the committee comprehensively assess it, as you all did, and come up with a resolution over the summer that said that the idea of paving over historic green park space for this kind of paved facility was bad public policy, but the committee was also, and the board was very clear and explicit that recreational space, more skateboard space, having better skate facilities would be welcome. I think you all wrote it as with open arms, like very clear that this is a welcome and could be quite a environmentally lovely, outdoor sport for whoever would love to do it, just not brought artificially in conflict with keeping our green park space, which we don't have enough of. And I mean, nothing in New York that has enough green park space. So to deconflict is the goal. And we are still, pushing for it. More and more people have joined the effort. We're continuing to try to talk to the officials who are involved, and we are finally meeting with parks officials in the next few days. We went, many of us, to the Vital Parks rollout, this new, it seems a lot of it is infrastructure, rollout a few days ago at Borough Hall. And the Vital Parks Initiative planks are, in the main, we want things to be green, climate conscious, and resilient, and we want them to be safe, and we want them to be equitable. So we talked in person to the officials there to say, we very much agree with this, and actually the community board, when it assessed this plan, very much agreed with these goals. But the plan for Mount Prospect Park is not these things. It's not green, and it's not equitable, and it's not safe, and that we want to meet with them. So we're going to do that. So we'll have yet another update. We're glad to have that meeting. And I will say that the resolution that CB9 did was again comprehensive. It was, a lot of it was on green and climate. A bunch of it was on process, because unfortunately, I think this conflict wouldn't have arisen if we had had conversations like when the Prospect Park Alliance was here. They said, we had these community conversations about the site and what do people want, and that didn't happen. It was just blasted onto the scene as this is what's being done in this park, and if you want to help design a skateboard facility, you can talk, but never any community conversation about what should be going on in this park, what's the site, what do people use it for and want to use it for. So that could have been averted. So now that makes it all the more uphill, but it is very much helped by the fact that there was such a strong and clear assessment of all these factors by the community board, which, as I understand, is what the community board should do. So, thank you again very much. And on behalf of everybody who's collaborating on this, it was really, really significant. And I would just add that since you all did that work, and since the state did the historic designation, I think everything has just become more deeply concerning, because we have a drought and parks are on fire, and we went through the hottest summer after the hottest year after the hottest decade. I mean, clearly we have heat crises, and there's a new study that came out of this summer. It was very concerning after the resolution, where the experts are saying, look, we have to face, as cities, we're going to have extended heat waves and extended power outages at the same time. So they said it's a certainty. So we should not figure that everybody can just go to a cooling center, or everybody just gets air conditioning, which we know is not equitable anyway. A lot of people don't have access. So we really need these green spaces that are 10 degrees cooler naturally. And if you went out into the park over the summer during the heat waves, that's what you'd see. People flooded into that park, and whether it was playing soccer or, singing, there's a disability singing group, or, just whatever, just relaxing. People were taking advantage of that natural green cool space. Maybe they didn't have air conditioning, and you can't count on it. So it's all becoming all the more important, and it makes the park sort of visionary, and preserving the park is visionary. And so if folks, aren't on the list yet, if you look at Friends of Mount Prospect Park, people who can still sign on, look at our updates and what's going on, action around the park.
Thank you.
And we're continuing to try and do what we have from the beginning, which is the win-win. People should be able to enjoy and preserve green space. It's good for us all. And the skateboarding is great, and we have spaces. If we as lay people have spotlit, so many of them around that could be used and improved, and even the skaters have complained about it. And those could be fixed up. And that's not even some kind of like a comprehensive equity assessment of pay space that's available in the overpaved borough of Brooklyn. So we just keep pushing for, the everybody wins solution, and the one that takes us to like the spaces that serve us best going forward that we need in our parks. And, maybe green up some of those paved spaces and make them better. Talking about planting more trees, do that. But we've got to preserve the ones that we have. I would say like the little baby trees are great. Like when you see the nature documentaries of little baby turtles, and you hope that a few of them will grow. We got the mature trees. Got to take care of those. Anyway, obviously I could go on about that. I think I hit the things that that I had in mind. It's like a community health and well-being thing. That will take us forward very well or get damaged, and we're trying to have it take us forward very well. And appreciate the community board really digging in for the well-being of the community.
Is my understanding been decided on? We could probably all that we want to, but it's still going to happen.
That's how it was rolled out. I mean, as my kid says, congestion pricing. The fact that so much has changed, I mean, this summer just sort of tells you. And there is one other factor. Again, your resolution included safety concerns, but we have looked further at those safety issues, and we found more and more material that is from the professional designers that talks about how location of parks, of skate facilities, including in parks or not, really contribute. That location is key for safety, including whether there are triggers for youth interaction with police, and that positioning skate facilities in secluded areas, tree-screened areas, areas without a clear sight line from the street, that's the make or break. And again, like I try to, when talking about this, be very clear, we are just quoting from the design manuals from the professional designers, which we are not. But we read these skate manuals, and they're all posted. And they say, secluded, tree-screened, off from the street, got a big X that says incorrect. And to quote them, they said that they surveyed police officers who said the measure of whether they experience what they call significant delinquency, again, not our words, significant delinquency and antisocial behavior was correct location. And now Prospect Park's this unusual park. It's like way up, built on top of the reservoir. There are no clear sight lines from the street. It is also the fact that it has steep granite stairs coming out of it, no ramp. So skateboarding down it, you can have collisions or go right into Eastern Parkway. And the stairs, I mean, there's all kinds of daredeviling. But, it's pretty scary what would happen, and I don't think signage is going to do it, So it's sort of inherently an unsuitable site. And I think folks in the community, and I've done some of this, and I know many people here who have done, who are interested in promoting the health, well-being, and safety of young people, and young people who sometimes get termed at risk, do not want to set up a situation where just due to the inherent features of that spot, there are triggers. And we have had some conversations about that where people would say, well, then just call the police, And that's what we don't want to have happening. That we're not looking for just call the police is the answer because the sighting was a problem. Okay,
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, I have two questions. The first question is exactly what is going on with the application. Was there an application made? What are the timetables on the application? I mean, do you get rejected? I mean, you know, is there like 30 days you put your application in?
Historic
Yeah, but,
status?
for the historic.
The eligibility
Registry.
determination has already been made for the application. We probably need to do fundraising, and we've asked for information on how much that would take, because it's a big deal, and it's also an extended timeline. We are looking to see the environmental assessment for the space, and we do not have, we see that there's supposed to be some kind of review, but we do not have that assessment to see what we would think of how it was done and what it contains. So that may be a whole, I expect that that'd be a whole other source of analysis, you know? But we have not heard when that's coming our way, or if there's a reason that it wouldn't be. But we're looking for that and asking for that, continuing to ask for that. Also, it's supposed to come to Community Board 8. Now we are hearing but not reading, but, you know, we're being told that that is in April of next year.
So in April, you're gonna take your resolution to Community Board 8 as well?
Well, we attend Community Board 8 and are always looking for information and asking questions, and maybe, I mean, we would hope that Community Board 8 would look at a resolution as well.
So what exactly is going in front of Community Board 8 in April?
We are told that that would be the plan for whatever the
city?
facility is supposed to be. Yeah.
Oh,
Let me ask this, right? The application for historic designation, does that put a stay on them doing the park?
Not as I understand it. But it has to be considered in terms of preserving and respecting the historic features and the layout. So I think that's another that's another back and forth. I mean, at some point it starts to seem like, why are you doing, I mean, we would say, why are you even trying to shoehorn this in here if there are so many issues?
Because I would restore that if you made an application for a historic designation, there should be some pause with the project that you're thinking about.
My understanding is that they have to figure that into what they are doing, but again, my understanding, and I'm not an expert in that, is that it's not an absolute, that it has to be, contended with.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for coming. Appreciate it. All right.
Sorry, I do have to step away.
All right, so next, do we take attendance and then?
Yeah. So, James was here, yeah. Okay, so so Courtney's here.
Here.
Denzel, no.
Oh, Denzel said he wasn't making, I think it was obvious, but I sent him a message asking, I found him on LinkedIn. I was determined to find out if everything was okay, and he said he told Nicholas he wasn't going to make it this evening.
So he has an excused absence.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, he's usually here, technology, right? Because I said I don't have his number, and I think we all said we didn't have his number.
Very
Social media.
resourceful.
Yes.
I try to be, I was, I see you guys here every month, and he's usually here, so I wanted to make sure everything was okay.
Is here. Okay, and Lillian, no. Melissa, no. Brenda, here. David, here. Eric? Has Eric ever been here? Has anyone ever seen Eric? No? No.
Is Eric the gentleman, there was a guy who was here, I met him once, but I think he actually sits on Community Board 9 in another committee. I met him again at MS61, is that Eric?
We don't know.
You know what,
That's
that's
why
why he sat here and a female
No, that
sat
was
across.
Denzel who sat here.
No, the meeting that I'm thinking about,
Oh,
that I
another
only
meeting.
saw him, and the other woman asked him, why are you stalking me? And I was sitting down
Oh,
next to
yes.
him, you remember,
I
is
remember
that
that.
Eric?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No,
Okay.
oh, that was Alicia, and that was, that's not.
Not him,
Eric.
okay.
Not Eric.
I never saw him again.
Yeah, he really is, that is an issue.
But he's
That's-
on the
that's a legal
board,
issue.
he
Yeah,
he
he's on the
sits, he
board.
has a seat. I saw him at MS61.
Okay, Frank's not here? Frank. Naima?
Who do I talk to about correcting the spelling of my name?
Mia. Milton. You call her Mia.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, I'll give you.
We have a few
Just call,
corrections.
yeah, just call.
Yeah, I'm never on here.
I haven't been for 2 years, and now that I'm on here,
It's
spelled
wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not on here.
Gloria, you're not here.
No.
You're not here.
Oh, nowhere am I.
You're not here, you're not on the list. I'm gonna put your name down anyway, okay?
Oh, I'm
Okay,
generous.
who, everybody's here. I mean, Nicholas
We're
hasn't,
accounted for.
Nicholas is
Nick-
online.
Nicholas is online.
Mhm.
You can't vote though.
No,
Julia Bryant's here. Okay, we did attendance. Okay.
So
We have a quorum.
Yeah, we have 8, right? Quorum. We have the approval of the last 2 months' meeting minutes.
But we don't have the
We don't
minutes,
have the minutes though.
so we'll have to do 3.
Yeah, we'll have to push that back to next month, get all 3. Next is the, parks and,
No, I'm just saying we do have last month's minutes, but we don't have that.
2 months.
We don't have the month before.
It
Does
was
it-
sent out.
yeah, I thought it was sent out, I thought,
Yeah,
In
yeah,
an
I said-
email, attached to the email.
Okay, it's 8:45, let's do it now.
I'm okay with that. Next we have, parks and cultural institutions liaison reports. Does anyone-
Well, Nicholas and I were supposed to get in contact with the Parks Department and have their representative come in and to give a presentation.
Oh,
So I suppose we're gonna have to do that in the next meeting.
okay.
Have you contacted them? I mean,
No,
they're-
not yet. Not to my knowledge. I don't know if Nicholas did.
Oh, he did?
I don't know. I don't want to say he
Okay,
did.
you two are gonna,
Work
work
that
it
out.
out.
All right, next is the biennial conference updates and planning. That was Nicholas thing, yeah. No one else, okay.
Table it.
Yeah. Did he talk to them?
Is he here? Nicholas, you gotta talk?
I don't think you can talk if he's watching.
You can call, Nicholas, call somebody. That's how we did Brenda.
He did, and we did get her on the line.
We got her on the line.
Well,
Some of us are technically savvy. Okay.
All right, next up, calendar of activities, setting and development for this fiscal year.
That would be Nicholas and he
Right.
is
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Can't answer that. All right.
That would dovetail with the biennial conference, because he needs to know how much money he's
Correct.
going.
Okay.
Did you meet with Nicholas? Did you meet with
no,
Nicholas?
I just called him.
But I'm saying that you're on the subcommittee, right?
Yes, I'm on a subcommittee, I don't even know.
You're on the subcommittee for the biennial conference.
You know what, it
That's
does
what
sound,
it
we
is.
didn't, we met about something else, we talked about something else, but I'll remind him.
Do you want me to call Nicholas?
No, let's just keep it.
Okay, number 8, resolutions and voting items.
So there was a resolution that was set in front of the board last meeting, right, but there was not a quorum
What was the resolution?
Yeah.
in the last general board meeting.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not us. We're just Parks and Rec.
But that's a part.
Yeah, it was us. It was
From us.
so it was written up. It was about the extended use permits for schools.
Oh.
It was
Oh, very
it was about that, and Nicholas said that I left the meeting and they lost quorum. I don't think I was the only one who left. That meeting was pretty long, and I'm not gonna snitch, but there were a few of us.
Okay, we can stop there because
Okay.
Trust me, I've done it.
Okay.
Oh no,
Oh, okay.
I was not able to attend the last meeting.
Yeah. So.
But
I
so
was-
it
I
must
was
be
just-
carrying
I was just
forward.
joking. I was there with the end. So it didn't get voted on, but
It's gonna carry
Okay.
forward. to the
yeah, it's
next
gonna carry
meeting.
forward. It was written
Okay,
up.
it's
It is.
tabled.
It's a beautiful thing. We just have to get it out to the board.
Okay, what was it called? Extended
Welcome.
use.
Extended use permits.
Oh, this is the extended use permits that have to do with, some
Space in
people can
schools,
use,
yeah.
some people can use them and some people can't, and.
Yeah, we're trying to get an idea of if there is space in schools that community organizations can use, and the fact that we really don't know, we wanted to put something into
Make it
place.
more clear.
Yes.
On that note, we're doing a walkthrough of Major Owens, and I would like to invite anyone to come to our meeting.
When is
So
it?
our meeting is at 6, but the walkthrough starts at 5.
What day?
It's Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, our meetings are the third Wednesday of the month. Yeah, I did call Nicholas about it. He said just bring it up in the meeting. I wanted to give you a little bit more time. I don't know how your schedules are, but there's not one email where we could just send out a blast. At least I don't have everyone's email, so I apologize about that.
Next Wednesday
So
at
next
5.
Wednesday, 5 at Major Owens. And let me,
Wednesday, sorry, go ahead.
That's
Let me-
Bedford and
Bedford and Union. So that's the 20th. And take my number down in case you get lost or you don't know which entrance to use. It's 646-388-1944. And if you Google my name, you'll find my number as well. Abigail, Abigail. And my surname is Tim, T-I, M as in Mary, M as in Mary.
Will I be able to join that? day?
Yeah.
Can I join? I'm planning to join the.
Maybe we do have community seats. You know what? I asked Joe.
No. Join
Yes, ask.
as a
member.
member of the recreation center, not on the board.
I don't know, so let me find out.
Right, because there are community, if you were in the community, yeah, there are community
Yeah.
memberships. But
But it's
they're-
limited, so
but they're
we still
limited
have to
to-
find out if there are any left.
I'm old.
We do have a few members. They don't have the committees. They have just Community Board 9. So that's how they're placed on the board for Major Owens. So
No, she just
I don't
wants
wanna
to be on the board.
She just wants to swim.
I'm trying to go do Pilates, okay?
yeah, but I think Pilates, you could just pay for Pilates. I think it's separate, but you
No, I
want me
want to be a member. I'm talking about a fitness.
Oh, just go in
a
there.
Fitness center member.
Yeah,
Can
you
I-
don't.
The question is, when I go Wednesday at 5 p.m., will I be able to join and
Yes.
get out? Okay.
If you want the community, I think they need your W-2s. But you can join when you go.
Okay.
So maybe go earlier than the 5 o'clock.
4:30.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, you definitely can.
Yeah, you
Where's
work for
the
yourself, you can do
Abigail,
it.
where's
Shut
the
that.
group meeting? At the door?
No, we meet inside. Right now, we are trying to reserve one room, but if not, we usually meet on the second floor. So I'll get back, I guess, call me, text me, but you won't get lost. Just say you're there for the board meeting. But that's for the board meeting. We want to do a walkthrough. So the walkthrough, I guess we can meet in front of the building, the main building at 5. So please be on time. I'm usually on time because parking is difficult over there. So I'll be there a little bit earlier. And you should see me wearing something bright. You usually can't miss me. Yeah. Or call me. I answer my phone most times. Or call back.
Alrighty, so old business, any old business items? Nothing, okay, new business items? Nothing new, alright. Adjournment,
Yes.
We need a motion.
Seconded.
All right. How'd I do?
Excellent. I was just about to tell you, you did a wonderful job.
I appreciate that.
Wonderful job.
I appreciate
Excellent. And you had guests too. Yeah, you managed this well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, here, if you could